Now let me tell you something, alright? Because every now and then, a story lands in your lap that shakes you up from the floorboards to the ceiling rafters. A story with shadows longer than daylight and questions that refuse to stay buried. And this one, well, this one's got more twists than a rattlesnake in a burlap sack. It started on a quiet Tuesday evening in the studio where the lights stay hot and the conversations stay hotter. Joe Rogan was sitting across from Elon Musk at that familiar round table, headphones on, eyes locked, that curious expression he gets when he knows he's about to hear something big. A silence hung in the air, heavy, electric, like the universe paused just long enough to take a breath, and then Elon said it, not loud, not dramatic, just plain, steady, and real quiet. There's something people don't know about Charlie Kirk's widow. Joe leaned back, narrowed his eyes. You could almost feel the world turn an inch, because when a man like Elon Musk says something like that, you know he's not talking about small talk or rumors. He's talking about something buried deep, something folks don't want unearthed. And right then, the clock started ticking. The shadow of what was left behind. See, Charlie Kirk. Now that was a man who built his life like a fortress. He fought battles most people never saw, stood tall in storms that would have drowned lesser men. And when he passed, the world mourned, arguments paused, and even enemies held their breath to honor it. But behind the curtains, behind the polished speeches and social media posts, something shifted like the ground beneath an old oak tree. People whispered, folks close to the family felt the tension tighten like a rope pulled at both ends. And right in the center of that quiet earthquake was Erica, his widow graceful, composed, a picture-perfect portrait of strength and mourning. To most folks, she was the symbol of resilience. But to others, well, something wasn't sitting right. And Elon Musk, he'd seen things. Things that don't show up on newspaper pages or front-page tweets. It wasn't grief, he told Joe. It was something else, something deliberate. Joe didn't blink. What do you mean? Elon exhaled, heavy, weighted, like a man carrying a secret too long. There are messages, records, conversations she never expected would surface. The missing pieces. Now, folks in the studio leaned forward because conversations like that don't pass by like a breeze. They hit like thunder, and thunder always means something's coming. Joe rubbed his chin, that slow, measured motion of a man who's seen more than he says. Are you talking about the days before he died? Elon nodded, and suddenly the air changed, because people had questions about those final days. About the strange silence, about decisions made behind closed doors, about things that just didn't sit square with the people who knew Charlie best. And that's when Joe said something that dropped like a hammer on granite. His parents tried to reach out to her after he passed. They said she cut them off. Elon's eyes darkened. Not just cut off, locked out. And right there, the truth started unraveling. Whispers that wouldn't die now. Listen, timing tells truths that words never reveal. And the timing here? It was peculiar. Just days after the funeral, documents shifted hands, doors shut, names disappeared from accounts, records were sealed, and access evaporated like mist, and folks who loved that man more than life itself were suddenly strangers at the gate. Joe tapped the table with his knuckle once. Slow, sharp. Why would she do that? Elon paused, and that pause said everything words couldn't. Maybe because she needed to hide something. A chill spread across the room, because secrets don't scare people. Secrets with power do. The files. A week before this conversation, someone slipped information to Elon A. folder. Thick, sealed, marked private, no return address, no signature, just a whisper that said, "Read carefully." And when he opened it, he found communication logs, transfers, meetings in the dead quiet hours, conversations that pointed toward a plan that stretched back months before Charlie left this world, and none of it matched the story everyone had been told. Joe stared, stunned. "So you're saying this wasn't just grief or chaos?" Elon shook his head. "No, it was intentional." The name that changed everything. There was a name buried in those files. A name that shouldn't have been there. A name connected to decisions that never should have been made. When Joe read it aloud, it struck like lightning. The studio froze. The air tightened. Because this name, this person had every reason to keep the truth buried. Every reason to control the narrative. Every reason to make sure certain people were silenced. And suddenly everything made sense. Why the family was shut out. Why the sudden shifts. Why the silence. And why Erica vanished from the public eye right when questions started echoing louder than applause. The House of Cards. Elon leaned forward, voice low as thunder rolling over hills. Truth isn't dangerous because of what it reveals. It's dangerous because of what it destroys. Joe nodded slowly. "So what happens now?" Elon stared straight ahead, that calm before the storm. "Now the world decides if it's ready to hear the truth." And right then, every listener watching felt the same thing. Something big was coming, something that wouldn't stay buried forever, something that would make people rethink everything they thought they knew about loyalty, loss, and trust. Because when secrets rot in the dark, they eventually burst into the light. And that's where we stand now. On the edge of revelation, waiting, watching, listening for the crack in the silence that tells us the truth finally broke through. Because storms don't last forever, but they always leave a path. Subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. You're not going to want to miss what comes next.